Welcome to TRLEvision, a show chronicling my ongoing journey through the very best and most unique custom Tomb Raider levels made using the Tomb Raider level editor. Today I'll be taking you on a journey through the picturesque and breathtaking sights of the Himalayan mountains. A journey that will take us to new heights, push new boundaries, and will explore what it really means to get roasted alive by a jet of flame coming out of a yak's anus. But before we continue, let's take a moment of reflection and calm and visit one of the many meditation chairs here at the local monastery, so that one day we too may learn the power of teleportation. Wait, what? Movement in the Monastery is one of those level sets that comes around every once in a while and absolutely blows everyone's socks off with just how good it is. Created by a user called Loch or Loch, I don't know how to pronounce that name, so please let me know in the comments, who is a person who hasn't released a level set since 2015, this level set seemingly aims to perhaps be the most ambitious creation on the Tomb Raider engine to date. Shitting hell. Why do I say this? Well, when you have a warning on the download page not to play this on anything with a processor lower than 2.4 GHz, and that the level set has a keyboard shortcut programmed in to reduce the level's draw distance, then you know you're in for something special. Or something that's going to completely blow your computer up. One of the two. I mean, all you have to do is really just look at the title screen alone to see that there's clearly been a lot of work put into this. Not only is there a monk just chilling there throwing boulders at eagles with his mind, yes, that's a sentence I just said out loud, but you can also press a button to change the camera angles and view other parts of the level within this screen too, which I have to admit is the first time I've ever seen this done before. But once you hit the new game button, however, you're then treated to a cinematic in-game cutscene that has a voiceover explaining the reason for Lara being there, as well as a full-blown title sequence as well. As soon as you get control of Lara, who in this level set is a mixture of her Tomb Raider 1 and 2 appearances, we pretty much have free reign to go wherever we want to. The first thing that you'll likely notice which really impressed me was the scope of this level set, which becomes immediately apparent once you step out from the starting area and into the main hub, as it were. I very much doubt anyone from core design or even the level building community ever thought this level of detail or draw distance was ever going to be possible within this engine. But lo and behold, Loch has been able to pull this all off, using nothing short of black magic to do so, no less. It's also here where you'll likely start to see a significant drop in performance. Even with my Ryzen 3700X CPU at over 4 GHz, it kind of struggled to play certain parts of this game at a decent frame rate with everything on screen. Playing around with the draw distance button allowed me to circumvent this issue at the cost of some fidelity, so if you're going into this completely fresh, then I highly recommend adjusting the level of detail to get the most out of this level set that you possibly can. The beginning part of this level set is where I would have to say that it'll get a little confusing and daunting for people new to the Trelly scene, or just for a majority of the first-time players in general here. There are a lot of places you could end up stumbling into thinking it's where you need to go, when the reality is that you're not actually supposed to be there, but actually somewhere else instead. But there's no indication that that's the case. To make sure that you don't run into any kind of problems when booting this up for the first time, my personal recommendation and advice for newcomers would be to fully explore the top starting area of this level set first, and then go to see the monk later. My first time round with this level set was a little bit frustrating because of this, as I felt naturally led to explore the uncovered tomb at the bottom of the level set first, and it wasn't until somebody in my chat told me where I actually needed to be that I could actually get on with starting the level properly. But once I finally got going, it was a fairly different story, and the level set did a good job of keeping me heading on the right path, except maybe for one or two occasions where I struggled to work out where to go and what I needed to do next. But again, this is more of a me problem than an actual fault of the level set itself, and when it comes to overall difficulty, I'd have to say that this one is a little bit of a tricky one in parts, but not so tricky as to leave you constantly wondering what to do next. There was one particular part that I did feel was a little bit BS, and it's this particular part here where you have to navigate through this room in a certain way to be able to grab a key at the end. I think there were supposed to be some ghost footsteps or sound cues that you were meant to follow to find the right path, but I'll be buggered if I could work out if what I was doing was even the right thing to do or not. So yeah, that particular part kinda sucked. Another thing worth mentioning is that it isn't really made all that clear that you need to level up your meditation skill by walking up to these random chairs and knowing that you need to stand still for a few seconds, which will then trigger Lara to stop and then begin her meditation. It's a pretty big one, as there are several areas that require you to have this skill at a certain level, and if you have no clue how to increase it or that it even exists, it can be a little bit of a frustrating time to figure out. The rest of the adventure, though, has some really well thought out and spectacular moments, none of which I will be spoiling here in this particular video because I really think it's best that you go into this completely blind without any kind of expectations. But what I will say is that none of you will be prepared for anything that happens here. Nobody. And I played frickin' Cake World. The writing for this level set is actually pretty darn funny at times too. The dialogue and character moments had me genuinely laughing out loud on several occasions, mainly just because of how absurdist and zany the level set became at times. For starters, the main monk character who guides you through the level comes out with some cracking one-liners that caught me completely off guard and managed to balance the line between being passive-aggressive and sarcastic, all whilst never breaking his Buddhist composure. It was hilarious. The text-to-speech bot that they've used in this level set greatly adds to this comedy, as it often makes them sound genuinely a little bit unhinged.
Oh Lara, down here, underneath the chair. Oh my, this is so embarrassing. I was still hungry after lunch, so I went to the shops for a snack, and unfortunately I miscalculated my return teleport. I should never teleport when my hands are full. I know this.
And then there are other residents who live in the monastery too, who frequently show up to either help you on your quest or bicker amongst themselves.
But Sangmu, it was for Lara.
I don't care. You promised we'd go dancing after lunch.
But not only does this level set have comedy, but it also manages to sneak in genuine moments of horror and emotion in parts, which was surprising. And it hits all the more effectively due to it being juxtaposed against all the usual silly nonsense going on. Oh, there's music. Must mean we're doing something right, if there's music. Ooh. Ah! 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 What the hell? It's this blindsiding that movement in the monastery does really well, and it helps to keep you on your toes whilst you play it, as you genuinely have no idea what's going to happen next. The environments themselves are really well crafted and full of so many neat little details that really bring the whole thing to life. And it also marks the second level set that I've covered on this channel to bring back the radial menu from the original games. So yeah, bonus points from me there. There is a little bit of what I can only describe as TRLE jank in this particular level set. Death farts. Wait, what? What the? Or due to how diagonal ledges were achieved in this engine, you'd sometimes end up shimmying across thin air where the original tile was supposed to be, which is a little odd looking. But apart from maybe the occasional crash to desktop due to engine overload, weird platforming behavior, or perhaps the sometimes obtuse logic where the game expects you to know about certain mechanics existing without it ever telling you, ultimately this level set feels very good to play. It's a fairly lengthy level set, clocking in at about 6 hours for me to finish personally, and about 471 megabytes in file size. But if you're in the mood for something truly unique and special from the Tomb Raider level building community, then I really can't recommend this one highly enough. It's a fantastic piece of work. The crazy thing is that I imagine that this level set wasn't even something that anyone knew was coming except for the people that worked on it. So to have something this brilliant come out of nowhere and absolutely knock it out of the park makes it all the more special and 100% worth recommending. And that wraps up this episode of TRLEvision. As always, if you know of any other creative level sets that you would like me to cover in this video series, then be sure to pop me a recommendation down in the comments section below, or go over to the Warr Manor Discord server and pop me a recommendation there. If you want to check out any of these level sets for yourself, the links to download them are in the video description below. And you can even watch me play some of these level sets live for the first time every Tuesdays and Thursdays over on twitch.tv/SteveOfWarr. Special thanks as always to my super generous Twitch subscribers and Patreon supporters who all help keep this channel going, and a big massive thank you to everyone watching for your continued support.